Welcome parents. This video's if you weren't able to make the Teton Science School in-person meeting. It should give you the same exact information. Hopefully this will give you information on cost, location, time, and tips and tricks on what to bring and what the experience will be like. All right, let's get started. This slide's pretty self-explanatory, but it has a video showing what the science school is. So feel free to click on play and see what that is.
He's not photogenic, but he's cool.
He's very beautiful.
He's leaving.
Wow, he's like, I think he's turning this way.
Wait, come here.
Okay. Yeah, he is posing.
Oh, absolutely. Here, let me move out of your way. You need to get the good ones.
Okay.
So you can see the science school is based on science, interaction, and experiencing nature. Here's some pictures from the past trip. You can see they have an obstacle course that the kids are able to go through. There were several of them, as well as presentations after some of the experiments that they've done. This group was able to do it in like a game show type manner, but after a lot of hiking and learning, they've been able to do that. You can see lots of studying, some fun in the dorm area, activities where they balance on the balance beams, etc., and games to get the kids started in the morning. The one on the right is like a ninja tag that they did, and the one on the left was a balance where they had to find a way to get their whole team on there and make the whole thing balance without tapping the side. This shows about how far away Jackson Hole is from our school. It's about 307 miles. The school itself is 2 miles from Jackson Hole. Most of the stuff is done within the school, or they'll take little buses and head out to the actual Tetons. Some people did snow skiing, some people did snowshoeing, some just regular hiking. A lot of it will depend on the weather and the time of year. So it's really unpredictable, but that is within the area that we'll be. Staff that's going this year, you'll see Coach Mendoza, Miss Robinson, and Miss Proctor, who all went last year. This year we'll also have Miss Spencer, Mr. Selfridge, and Miss Morgan's going as our school administrator. She's had a lot of experience going. She's actually been multiple times with Wasatch Peak, and also was one of our leads in planning last year. So she's well prepared. One of the expectations for students to go on this, we do expect that the students going are representatives for our school and they're on their best behavior. Any behavior that could result in unsafe situations, the students will be required to return home. Unfortunately, that would mean that the parents would have to come. There are some situations like where the admin would be able to drive and meet halfway with that student and return them, but in a worst case scenario, a parent would be responsible to come get their students. This right here is a week schedule from last year. I feel a lot more prepared this year talking about it, having been there. One thing I want you to know about the science school is that we didn't know quite last year until we've been, is that they are very fluid with their week. The very first day when you meet your counselor for the group, each group is about 12 to 13 kids. Depending on how many kids are going, but the counselor would talk to the students about their interests. The group I was with were very interested in animals and studying animals, but I know that other groups weren't quite in that area. So our group actually had a different week because we focused more on animal tracking, hiking and finding animals, learning about the different environments that animals live in, while other groups had totally different experiences. We'd spent time sitting and observing animals. We'd hike to an area and observe them, where other groups hiked the whole time. So this week's schedule is very fluid depending on what they're learning in their group and their interests. The second thing is the morning, the big chunk of the day is out with the counselors doing the main study / hiking, exploring, dinner, and then activities happen, and then there is some free time. There's quite a bit of free time in the evening. So just so kids don't feel overwhelmed, but I want you to know as far as schedule, it is very fluid to the group, but the block schedule is pretty similar. You wake up, clean, get ready for the day, pack your lunch, go out in the field all day. Then when you get back, you have dinner, some free time, activities, and then some more free time and back to bed. So yeah, kind of a way to explain how that'll look. We do know that some students need to take medications. That's great. When we get closer to the date, you'll notify the school of those. You will need to have them packed. And it's always better to tell your kid. They're old enough that most of them will remember. But if not, we do have a container that is secure that locks up every night. And then we distribute those to the kids throughout the day, however that needs to be. But if you're worried about that, communicate with the front office and we'll work through that. All right, this slide is probably more for when we get closer to the actual trip. There is one emergency number they offer if your kid goes that you can call and contact the main office up there. That's only to be used in emergencies. I am more confident this time because I wasn't sure the first trip last year that we'd have cell service, but we do. We have cell service. So the staff will actually have phones with them at all times. So the students won't be able to call out, but the teachers, if there was an emergency, would be able to call out. We actually were pretty kind last year, and if students were missing mom or dad, we did have quite a few students. We allowed them to call. So the nice thing is there is that possibility. We just don't want kids to be calling parents and stuff without us knowing about it. Everything is really close within the range of the school. They did brag that every counselor had a radio that's connected right with the dispatch in the school. And because of that, they could have communication in a 5 mile range and have someone there within minutes, no matter what was going on. So one thing you can rest easy is communication. Your student probably won't be talking to you nightly on the phone, but sometimes no news is good news, is what we were trying to say last year. This is the one that kills the students, drives them crazy. No cell phones or devices while they're up there. They're really strict about this, and the reason they do it is they want the students to enjoy the experience of being there fully, and they feel that having cell phones distracts from that. So the moment those students step off the bus, they take them, they put them in a bucket, and they lock them up. Um, they can have them on the ride, but once they show up, they're collected. The adults at the school can have access to them, but that's last year there was no need. It wasn't necessary. If there's a emergency, you will receive a phone call. Like I said, the staff has phones, and we would be able to contact you really good. Again, no news is good news. If you're not hearing from us, things are going really well. All right, talking about gear for the trip. As you know, the weather could be unpredictable. When we got there, it was covered in snow. We had a huge snowstorm the day we got there. The counselors were saying the week before, students were just going around in long pants and shorts and hiking through the mountains. But when we got there, it was freezing. So snow clothes were definitely needed. It's very important that you pack for a wide range of temperatures. Even by the time we left, it was much warmer than when we got there. But everyone needs to have layers for all types of conditions: snow, mud, rain, everything. Sunglasses, hats, extra socks, and waterproof is necessary. I mean, we were hiking in the snow, sitting in the snow, and it was definitely needed. You're going to get a packet. The packet will have all the gear that should be brought. Students, when they get there, they'll issue them a backpack, some gear, a water bottle that they can bring home. The sit gear is just like a foam mat that they can sit in the snow and not get their behind wet. Students do want to bring their own stuff like deodorant, shampoo, toothbrush, toothpaste. Heavy coat, hats, and sunscreen are very, very important. You need to remind them to bring these items, but here's the good news. This last one you can't really see with me on there. They do have a store there that has all kinds of equipment. Students can use it. So they do have snow pants, boots, and all that. The downside is they can't guarantee they're going to fit really nice or be broken in. So worst case, they're still covered, but it is better for them to have their own stuff. The kids who brought it were much happier than the ones who had to use the items from the store. Some of the safety rules that the science school has is that while the kids are there, they have to be within eyeshot of the teacher or adult or counselor at all times. Even on hikes, they're going to have direct communication with the field office, like I said. So if there was an emergency, they can get a hold of them ASAP. But students are required to stay within that area, which really is not a big deal. All right, here's the fun part, the dates. So Teton Science School is March 27th through 31st. The students leave Monday morning, so they'd come probably about 9 is I believe what we did last time, bring all their gear. Parents drop them off, we load up the bus and we head out. It's quite a drive. Um, they come back the following Friday, so 5 full days. They're going to bring a sack lunch for the trip up, so they have something to eat, snacks for the ride up, which are really, really nice. And then when we get back, it's around 5 p.m. And that's our best estimate about, when we left and when the calendar talked about the times the school had set up. We are stopping on the way back for lunch. Last year, we stopped at a pizza joint and got lots of pizza and had a good time. When the bus is about 1 hour from the school, we'll send an email out or a one call to the families so you'll get an idea so you can be prepared when they come. So just so you know, those are the dates, times, and how that works. All right, one of the biggest questions is what is it like in the dorms and how does that feel? Um, the cool thing is they're bedrooms. So the students all have like a bedroom, 4 people or 5 sleep in it. There's usually 2 sets of bunk beds and one single bed. Last year they did give us sheets, comforters, pillows, bath towels, and wash towels. I wrote not sure there because I want you to think the comforters were not as big and thick as we were picturing when we thought comforters. So I do recommend a sleeping bag just to be safe and a pillow as well. The ones who actually brought those were a little happier, but just in case they did have those, I just we wanted to recommend that you bring your own because they didn't seem sufficient for some kids. They do have lounges, so there's a little gathering area because they have a boys' dorm and a girls' dorm. Lounges are areas where kids can gather and hang out. Last year, the boys' dorm had to travel to a new other building, and at the bottom of the girls' dorm was the lounge that we hung out in. It didn't get used as much as we thought. We actually had to kind of make adjustments, but just so you know, there is an area that has board games and all sorts of things. Each room itself has its own shower, and a bathroom. So it's a group of 4 to 5 that would be sharing that. The adult chaperones are in different rooms, but close by, so like connected but not in the same room. It is really sturdy building when it comes to wind and heat. It's great. The floors are heated, which is kind of unique, but it's nice when you wake up in the morning to have a nice warm floor. But that's how they actually heat the whole building. They do say that no food is allowed in the dorms because they don't want to have rodents and issues with that. Um, you can request being by your friends, but we do group by behavior also. So if you have a kid that your student feels more comfortable with and you want to recommend them being by it, let us know. We will do our best, and we really did a great job to get most everybody by them. But we do sometimes have to split them up to make it even or to accommodate for different behaviors. Last year we were there with 2 other schools, so we don't know who we are there with this year, but this gives you an example of what it would be like. We did have 8th grade group from California and a 7th grade group from Montana. So we will be there with other groups. We didn't interact with them very much. Like we didn't do activities with them. We did eat at the same time, but the tables were assigned to different groups. I'm not sure if that was more after COVID or if that's what they're doing continuously. Um, some of the kids did make friends with a few of those kids, but for the majority, we did not interact much with them, but they are there, and we wanted you to know about that. Dorms are not co-ed. In case you were wondering, I do believe I said that before. But there is a possibility, depending on the numbers, that they could be in the same building or on the same floor, but they do have areas they can close off and, like, say, have boys in one half and girls the other. Last year, it was 2 separate buildings, boys in one building and girls in the other. All right, some miscellaneous items to kind of cover. The hikes are pretty mellow. They get lots of breaks. There may be small strenuous stretches. They do warn of that. On the hikes, there are code words used, so if the students have to use the bathroom, that's something people worried about. The guides can assist the students with this. There are code words such as I need to chase the coyote or chase the bear, which really means number 1 or number 2. Truth is, last year, I think maybe one time in the whole week did any kid have to do that. So that wasn't something. They actually had good enough breaks between the day to make that work out really well. Some activities require travel on buses, so the buses will take you to other destinations. You go from the school to like the Tetons and hike up a canyon. That was pretty much a daily event, just so everyone's clear that that does happen pretty much every day. There's a gift shop, so if students want to bring money, the gift shop itself, has things from local stuff, hoodies, jackets, and things like that. And again, there's a lounge with board games for the kids to play. We kind of cover some of this twice, but hopefully that's helpful. Okay, here's some payment options. So we actually have three different payment options. We are allowing to pay in three separate payments, two payments, or paying in full. So the dates for three payments, if you're going to choose that option, would be November 1st, 1/3 of the cost, which is 183, January 2nd, 183, and then March 1st, the final amount, which is 184. So if you choose to do that, smaller payments over a longer time, two payments November 1st and February 15th, 275 each. Or if you choose to pay in full, November 1st is the time we would want that. There are scholarships options available. We do take those on a case by case basis. We cannot do everybody, but we definitely want to make it possible for students to come. So if you do want to do that, let us know. Contact and schedule a meeting with administration. In most cases, we make that work through service to the school, and they have to work through some projects and sometimes stay after school and help clean, and that helps them earn that money for that scholarship. But just so you're aware, that is a possibility. Just let us know and we'll see what we can do. All right, this one's a little for the future, but we're going to send out a registration link. So to register for the Tetons, you must do it online. We will let you know by email when that link comes out. This should be in the next few months, and that will register you and your student, your student for the trip. Okay, so we'll let you know before that happens. All right, question, how do you pay? So it's pretty easy. The first option is cash in the front of the office. So if you go up to the front office, you're able to pay in cash. If you choose to do a check, that's great. You would make that out to Scholar Academy, and again, that would be in the front office. So those are the two options you have. If you have any questions, let us know. Okay, just a couple more items. We are limited to the number of spots. Last year we had some students who tried to join last minute, but unfortunately this year, because of how it worked, we're being a little more strict on that. But we have 45 spots for students. The earlier you register, the better. As far as parents, we do have some parents who've expressed interest in going. We are going to finalize our numbers with the Teton School before we make that decision. The parents do have to pay the $550 just like the students do. They would have to sleep in a dorm, and sometimes that's part of the accommodation. They'd sleep in the dorm with the teacher and share that room. But we want you to know that as soon as we get that information, we'll open that opportunity and we'll contact those who've expressed that interest. All right, this is the part where we do Q&A. Hey, but that doesn't work because I don't have contact with you. So here's what you're going to do. You can email me with any questions, or if there's other parents who have attended the meeting and asked a question, let them know. But we are happy to answer questions. Two of the big ones that we've heard so far have been, while the kids are gone, do they have to make up the work they miss? And the answer is absolutely not. The students who are gone on the trip, that counts as their schoolwork for the week. Okay, it's a lot of fun. They're not going to regret it, and we don't want to make it a miserable trip that they'd have to do. So really, that trip itself counts as their work for that week. Any other questions, please email us or call us. All right, this is the end of the presentation. If you have any questions, again, contact us. We know that it's going to be a long time between now and then, but if you have any questions, we're happy to answer them. And we will have another meeting as the time gets closer to kind of get into the nitty gritty details so students feel a little bit better as we pan out those things. Anyway, we look forward to having you. We're so excited. Awesome time. Everyone who's gone loved it. Students do get a little bit homesick. I'm going to point that out. That is something we didn't anticipate how much they got homesick, but keep that in mind. That may be something you want to start working on right now with the kids. And we look forward to having a good time with you guys at the Teton Science School trip for Scholar Academy. Have a good one.